They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness, or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess they had made.
This quote is the principle of materialism, and these are ways that prove it.
Let's get started.
There are many types of people in the world, but it usually boils down to wealthy, middle class, and poor.
In The Great Gatsby, you can see a major problem that is faced today in the world. The problem is that the wealthy 1% usually creates the problems and the poor majority usually cleans up the mess.
There are two examples of this that we face in the modern world. One of the problems is being fought overseas today. A prime example of this is when
a politician creates a war halfway across the world.
When a politician creates a war, they're usually not the ones on the battlefield. Just like Tom and Daisy, the politicians, or the wealthy 1%, they're usually the ones that create the problems, but not the ones that pay or clean the mess up.
Yes, the wealthy 1% usually creates the problems, but the people below them usually suffer the most.
In The Great Gatsby, you can see good examples of what carelessness truly is.
What usually causes carelessness?
Money and materialism usually cause carelessness.
This leads us to our next event. Many of us people remember the oil spill that happened in the Gulf of Mexico back in 2010.
What about it?
It's an example of how the wealthy 1% is usually the one that creates the problems and the majority is usually the one that is affected.
The poor fishes.
I agree, it can even happen to fishes.
Just like Tom and Daisy, the CEOs of the big oil companies were probably now on the beach cleaning them up.
Yeah, they retreated back into their own money.
Money runs the world. Money leads to materialism. In today's society, you can see advertisement for all types of things, everywhere, and that leads to materialism. You can see all types of ads and commercials and billboards, etc.
There are things that are not necessary but are always still wanted. Mr. Cowley always told us about a Hummer on 24-inch rims with Louis Vuitton interior. He said those things were too much and insane.
I understand what he's talking about. When I think of that, a Mercedes-Benz comes to mind, but it's covered in diamonds.
A trash can comes to mind too, but it's made out of gold.
These are good examples of materialism.
Just like in the 1920s, people have always looked to material objects for comfort. Just like in The Great Gatsby, when Gatsby looks at his house, he feels a sense of pride. Just like homeowners do today, there are differences.
That's just one example of how materialism manifested in the 20s and today.
In conclusion, things don't change much throughout the years. As long as there is money, there will always be materialism.
As long as there is money and materialism, there will always be that wealthy 1% smashing up things, and they will always retreat back to their money, leaving the majority to clean up the mess.